Today I wanted to talk to you about oil pulling, the basics of it and how to do it properly, and more importantly, how to do it safely. So we're going to talk about oil pulling, and a quick disclaimer is that there's currently very little information and evidence to show that oil pulling actually works or that it does all the things that it says it does. Any positive effects or benefits come from the type of oil used, and in this case I'm talking about coconut oil, and not just the process of swishing it around your mouth for extended periods. Oil pulling is not a replacement for brushing and flossing and other recommended oral hygiene products. Now, I'm a supporter of science-based research and evidence, and I do believe only through rigorous scientific studies to back effectiveness and safety of a product, treatment, or any advice. But because so many people want to oil pull or have heard good things about it, I'll run through with you the best way to do it if you're going to do it so that you can do it safely. So here's some tips that you can keep doing so you can oil pull safely and in the most beneficial way. Number one, you've got to start with a good quality oil. So something that's cold compress, something that's organic. You get my drift here. Look for the ones that are stored in the dark bottles, and then that way the oil is not going to go rancid. You can actually use any sort of oil that you would normally consume. Traditionally, it was sesame oil, but now the trend is coconut oil or MCT, which is a short chain version or middle chain version of liquid coconut oil. You can also get coconut oil without any flavor. Now, the recommended amount is 1 to 2 tablespoons of oil in the mouth. Well, that's quite a lot, by the way. And if I'm pulling a bit of a face, it's because I hate coconut oil. I don't like the feel of it in my mouth. I don't like the taste, so I'm not a fan. And the one time I tried oil pulling, it only lasted a few seconds. Anyway, the oil goes in and it's held in your mouth, and they recommend 10 to 20 minutes. And in that time, you draw the oil backwards and forwards in your mouth quite vigorously, so you're like you were sucking on a dummy, a bit like this. So you're trying to pull the oil backwards and forwards between your teeth from the front of your mouth to the back of your mouth. And the idea is to keep the oil moving in contact with your teeth and gums and the other oral tissues like your cheeks and your tongue. Don't swallow the liquid. You are supposed to spit it out along with all the other gubbins and nasties that have dislodged from the accumulated bits of food and plaque around your mouth. And by the way, don't spit the oil down your sink, because you can block the plumbing up, especially with coconut oil, because it solidifies once it cools. Spit it in the trash or in a tissue or into a cup and then throw it away. One thing you have to be super careful of is not to breathe in the oil, because there have been reports of a thing called lipid pneumonia, and that is associated with oil pulling. So make sure you're not accidentally aspirating and breathing oil into your lungs. So don't breathe in when you're doing it, so you don't get droplets of oil down into the back of your lungs. Don't mouth breathe. Remember, don't spit it in the sink, put it in a cup or tissue, and then you throw the mixture away once you're done. Once you've finished with oil pulling, you should rinse your mouth with water really well. You can rinse with warm salt water, and then after you rinse, you should brush and floss, because this is important to remove any residual debris and oil from around your teeth and gums. It's also recommended that you use a tongue scraper. I prefer that instead of brushing your tongue, and then you remove the residual bugs, mucus, food, etc. on your tongue, along with any gunk or remaining oil. The entire procedure and protocol for oil pulling is recommended right first thing in the morning when you wake up, before you eat or drink anything. It's advised also, don't gargle with the oil mix. Don't be popping it down the back of your throat in case you swallow it or inhale it. Now, you know I love all things holistic, but I am not a fan or a convert to oil pulling. I'm not against it, but I personally think the benefits are overstated, and some studies lean towards that it can harm your oral microbiome if you do it for too long. Coconut oil is actually naturally antibacterial, and in that case, 2 minutes of swishing around would suffice to reduce your bacterial load without harming your good bacteria. And well, look, if that's what you're going to do, you might as well just do an antibacterial mouthwash for 30 or 40 seconds instead. You can check out videos on mouthwash on my channel for more information. Look, I hope that helps. And if you want to oil pull, then of course go for it. But please make sure you do it safely.